What's going on, everybody? My name is Lexi and you are watching the Nerds Table, and today we're gonna be taking it back to the roots of wrestling. And what we're gonna be doing today is it's the new year, so happy new year. So what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna be going back, we're gonna be reviewing or reacting to Wrestle Mafia's video called Every Dumb Mistake That WWE in 2025. So what better way to bring in the new year than reflect on last year? So that's what we're gonna watch today. I haven't really watched wrestling. I'm gonna try to start watching it with the new year in. I'm gonna try to start kind of watching it to keep up with things so that I'm not like oblivious to what's going on. But we'll see. We will see. So without further ado, right? I mean, let's just get into the video. Let's see what they feel like was some really bad mistakes. Edie. You see, I drew my little creeper. I drew him, by the way, and the Enderman too. I drew, and the little block. Yeah. I can't draw, but I was bored one day and I was like, I'ma draw. Y'all probably seen him in another video. I'm so late. I don't have my Red Bull, so I'm like pushing out energy right now. So if it don't, like, you know, just bear with me a little bit, okay? Just bear with me. Anyways, let's see what they talking about.
The year comes to a close. These are all 20 mistakes that ruined WWE in 2025.
Okay.
You had Cena's retirement tour. You had names like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Punk, Rollins, McIntyre, AJ Styles, and LA Knight on the roster.
And AJ Lee. Why didn't he mention any women? AJ Lee.
You had the Netflix deal, and it seemed like there was no way WWE would screw this up. But then, Triple H ended up fumbling once again. So without further ado, this is every stupid mistake that screwed WWE in 2025. Let's start at the start of the year with the absolute baffling booking of the Royal Rumble. The 2025's Men's Rumble should have been a layup. John Cena was in his retirement tour. CM Punk was finally healthy and over as hell. The story wrote itself. Instead, WWE had Jey Uso win the whole damn thing. Jey might be a
So here's another thing. Y'all give me some insight, right? So last time I watched WWE, everybody was like in love with Jey Uso. They were like, Jey Uso went it out. Now, not too many people keen on Jey Uso. So what's the story there? Y'all give me the tea. What's the tea? Give me the tea. I wanna know the tea. What's the tea?
Mid-Carter and gets the crowd yeeting, but having someone who was clearly not ready for the main event spot win when you had names like Cena, Punk, Reigns, Rollins, and even LA Knight in the picture, that's straight up tone-deaf booking. The company took one of their most organically over stars and overexposed him to the point where a significant portion of the fan base started groaning every time he appeared.
Yeah, see?
And this brings us to the equally baffling decision on the women's side. If Jey Uso winning felt tone-deaf, Charlotte Flair winning the Women's Rumble was the perfect example.
Y'all might be mad at me for this, right? Yeah, I know that I've talked to people who are mad at me for this. Y'all might be mad at me for this. I love Charlotte Flair. I don't know if she's done anything controversial. So like, if she has, educate me in the comment section below, right? But when it comes to Charlotte Flair, I'm a Charlotte. When her music hit, the queen. You know what I'm saying? I like Charlotte. So y'all let me know if she did something controversial where I should be like, ugh. Cause everybody kind of doing something nowadays. So if she has, let me know. I can be like, ugh. You know what I'm saying?
Of Triple H playing it safe once again. The women's division in 2025 was stacked with names like Chelsea Green, Bayley, Liv Morgan, Naomi, and other stars who had been grinding all year. Yet WWE defaulted back to the same old formula. To be fair, Charlotte's work in the latter half of 2025 with Alexa Bliss made her character more likable. But that came months after the Rumble decision already left a sour taste. Both Rumble winners set the stage for what would become a recurring theme of disappointment throughout the year. And nowhere was this more painful than with John Cena's retirement tour.
Rumbling Cena's
John Cena's retirement
announcement. I didn't watch any of the retirement tour, y'all. I wasn't, like, I wanted to, but, like, I was hearing things about like the trajectory of the show, and it was making me kind of like not want to. Like, I didn't think it was like, oh, I don't want to sit through this, or I don't want to sit through that, or this. So like I didn't watch the retirement tour, so
at Money in the
educate
Bank
me.
2024 gave WWE a gift, an entire year to craft the perfect farewell for one of the biggest stars in company history. This should have been easy. Instead, WWE turned him heel at Elimination Chamber with absolutely no long-term plan.
Okay.
The initial moment was shocking, no question. But everything that followed was a complete mess.
Why?
The heel run lasted from Elimination Chamber through SummerSlam. And during that stretch, WWE wasted precious months of Cena's final year. This should have been WWE's easiest booking assignment of the decade, and they completely botched it by having Cena wrestle in pointless tag matches and face Logan Paul. But speaking of botching easy assignments, the entire build to WrestleMania 41 was a complete dumpster fire.
Dang, was it really? What
WWE
happened?
had all the momentum on the road to WrestleMania following the buzz of Cena's heel turn. But instead of capitalizing on the momentum, the build for WrestleMania 41 felt completely hollow. When WrestleMania finally arrived, the show felt underwhelming from a creative standpoint. Sure, there were some good matches, but good matches aren't enough when the stories behind them are non-existent. And nowhere was this more evident than the Mania main event.
Okay, so
Travis Scott's involvement.
That's so funny that he's talking about, because I was just about to say, I keep hearing that Travis Scott being in it was a bad idea. That's what I keep hearing. What do y'all think? Was Travis Scott being a part of like WWE, and before he talks, was Travis Scott being a part of WWE and like doing his thing in WWE, was that like a bad idea to y'all? Was it like, was it like standoffish? You know what I'm saying?
In the WrestleMania 41 main event has to be one of the dumbest booking decisions Triple H has ever made. The main event of WrestleMania was reduced to a publicity stunt. WWE prioritized a few days of Twitter buzz over the integrity of their biggest show. This pattern of chasing short-term gratification over meaningful storytelling continued throughout the year, and it also gave us one of the most ridiculous character changes of 2025.
Why was he hugging him like that? Don't hug me like that. You hear me?
When Seth Rollins turned heel and aligned with Heyman, fans expected the next evolution of the Architect into something more dangerous. Instead, Rollins turned into just another generic heel who cut the same promos every other heel in WWE cuts. Rollins as a heel lost the edge that made his previous heel runs memorable. He wasn't the Architect dismantling the Shield. He wasn't the cocky champion holding the company hostage. He was the guy who was now a villain because WWE needed someone to face CM Punk. And this brings us to another character assassination that broke the heart of every wrestling fan.
Fumbling the wrong.
R-Truth has been one of WWE's most versatile performers for years. When WWE released him in 2025, the backlash was immediate. The company quickly reversed course and brought him back at Money in the Bank to one of the loudest pops of the year. And for a brief, shining moment, WWE had something special. Truth returned with a new edge, calling himself Ron Killings again and demanding to be taken seriously. Ron Killings cut his hair on live television, and the whole world was ready to see this new version of Truth. Instead, the storyline was abandoned almost instantly without any payoff.
Why?
Within weeks, Truth went back to the comedy character. Everything that made the Ron Killings transformation special was erased as if it never happened. WWE took a performer who was ready to show his range.
Why was he zooming in on their teeth? Why did he zoom in on their teeth? What was that? Like, oh, okay.
Of the year's most memorable moments, then reduced him right back to where he started. But speaking of wasting momentum, few stories in 2025 were more frustrating than LA Knight's booking.
What's going on with LA Knight?
LA Knight's trajectory in 2025 perfectly encapsulates everything wrong with Triple H's creative philosophy.
What's wrong with
Here's
his
a guy who
philosophy?
got himself over organically. The catchphrases were trending, the merchandise was flying off shelves, the crowd erupted every single time his music hit. All WWE had to do was strike while the iron was hot. Instead, they hesitated. They played it safe. They gave Knight mid-card feuds that went nowhere, stop-start pushes that killed his momentum, and losses in matches when it mattered. Throughout 2025, Knight was consistently positioned right on the brink of breaking through to the main event scene, only for WWE to pull back at the last second. But LA Knight isn't the only wrestler who's been a victim of Triple H's bipolar booking.
Who else was Drew McIntyre? Okay.
Drew McIntyre came out.
But Drew McIntyre's had his time in the limelight. You know what I'm saying? Like, Drew McIntyre had the chance to be the top guy. He was on the bus. You know what I'm saying? He was on the semi, you know, he was the face of the company at a point. What about LA Knight? We, as in the fans, are making him the face of the company. The company is not making him the face of the company.
Out of 2024 looking like an absolute star. His feud with CM Punk was legitimately the feud of the year, and coming out of that rivalry, he looked destined for the world title scene and a marquee match at WrestleMania 41. Rumors suggested McIntyre was going to face Roman Reigns at Mania, which would have been perfect given his history with the Bloodline.
Okay.
Instead, he got Damian Priest.
Oh.
And while Priest is talented, he's nowhere close to Roman Reigns. From there, McIntyre's booking in 2025 struggled to regain any momentum. He lost back-to-back matches to Cody Rhodes, and Drew went from being positioned as a main event player to feeling like he was floating in creative purgatory with no clear direction. But speaking of questionable creative choices, one particular match left everyone scratching their heads. Sometimes WWE makes a booking decision so baffling that you have to wonder if anyone actually thought it through. Gunther versus Pat McAfee is one of those decisions. The match itself was fine for what it was, but that's not the point. The point is that the match did nothing for Gunther's character and actually made him look weaker for struggling against a non-wrestler. If WWE wanted to give McAfee a match, fine, but it didn't need to be against one of their most carefally protected monsters.
That's a match?
And speaking of wasted...
Was he bloody like that after Pat McAfee? Pat McAfee. Hopefully that picture wasn't it, right?
Carefully built characters, Brock Lesnar's return embodied everything wrong with WWE's approach to nostalgia acts in 2025. Nowhere was this lack of investment more apparent than in the women's division. The Women's Intercontinental Championship had its moment.
I love AJ Lee. Yo, since NXT Season 3, you make the rain fall. What was that, 2011 or something like that? I love AJ Lee. When I tell you one of my biggest dreams have always been to eventually meet AJ Lee, dog. Somebody make that happen this year. Matter of fact, we setting a goal. We're gonna pick a color. Purple is my favorite color. We're gonna set a goal. We need somewhere to set goals. We just gonna randomly put them down with a box mark next to them. Meet AJ Lee. That's a goal. That's a goal.
In 2025, particularly with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria bringing credibility to the belt. But the United States Championship on SmackDown has been a total disaster. Chelsea Green winning the title was a genuinely beloved moment by fans. But then, she dropped the belt to Zelina Vega, whose reign was completely forgettable. But if Zelina's reign was bad, what WWE did to Julia was borderline criminal. She won the US
I never make a fool of ya. Sorry.
Title, but then simply vanished from TV for weeks without explanation.
However,
Julia. This pattern of squandering potential extended to the Women's World Championship scene as well.
Nope.
Io Sky was red hot after winning the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 41. But then, WWE proceeded to do absolutely nothing with her for months. The Women's World Champion barely appeared on television. She wasn't given meaningful feuds, she wasn't positioned as the centerpiece of the Raw Women's division. They completely killed the legitimacy of her title reign by having her sit in catering rather than being showcased as the top star of the division. But the booking failures weren't limited to the women's divisions either.
Okay.
For a brief moment in early 2025, the SmackDown Tag Team division was actually cooking. But then the Wyatt Six returned, and suddenly every single team on SmackDown forgot they were supposed to be individuals with their own goals and rivalries. Everyone just turned their attention to the Wyatts and stopped being interesting characters in their own right. Meanwhile, over on Raw, the World Tag Team Championships became virtual props. What's particularly frustrating is that Triple H built his NXT reputation partially on the strength of his tag team booking. On the main roster in 2025, tag team wrestling has been treated as filler, and both divisions have suffered as a result. Speaking of suffering, the way WWE handled John Cena's character in the summer was absolutely baffling.
Okay, Tell me
If
about
wasting half of John Cena's retirement tour on a directionless heel turn was bad, retconning that entire heel turn just days before SummerSlam was somehow even worse. WWE spent months building Cena as a heel, but then, right before SummerSlam, WWE just retconned the whole thing and flipped him back to being a babyface.
Did they
No
really?
satisfying conclusion to the heel character arc. No dramatic moment where Cena saw the error of his ways. He just stopped being a heel one week, and everyone was supposed to pretend the previous months never happened. They treated months of television like it was meaningless, which trains fans to stop caring about anything WWE does because it might all get erased next week anyway. And while Cena's booking was frustrating, Cody Rhodes' title reign was straight up.
So is John Cena done now? Is he like through with the WWE now? Like did he like bam 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 out of the building? I'm just asking for a friend.
Boring. Cody Rhodes finishing his story at WrestleMania 40 was one of the most satisfying moments in recent WWE history. But since then, we got one of the most underwhelming World Championship runs in recent memory.
I was impressed when he like finished the story. He beat up Roman Reigns. Undertaker came out. Seth freaking Rollins came out. That was a good match. That was a
memory. Fans can anticipate exactly what he's going to say in promos, exactly how his matches are going to play out, and exactly how he'll respond to any challenge. When a character becomes that predictable, it's impossible to stay invested. The Randy Orton storyline has been teased for what feels like an eternity at this point. Every few weeks, WWE hints that Orton might finally challenge Cody, then hesitates to pull the trigger. But speaking of pulling the trigger, WWE panicked and pulled the trigger on the Vision breakup way too early. When Seth Rollins had to go on hiatus due to injury, WWE decided to break up the Vision without any build-up. This was supposed to be a huge moment months later at a big pay-per-view.
That's another one of my goals. It ain't like write it down worthy, so I'm sorry, Seth, cause I know that like at some point I'm gonna meet you, cause that's what this channel gonna be. But I have to write it down with AJ Lee, right? Because we don't know how long she gonna be in the WWE. So I gotta get there. I gotta meet AJ Lee. And plus, Seth, I've been wanting to meet you for maybe like 5 years. I'm like, oh, I'm a huge Seth Rollins fan. AJ Lee, it's been like 10 plus years. How old am I? It's been longer than 10 plus years. You know what I'm saying? Like this year, we have to meet. It is January 1st, 2026. By December 31st, 2026, this box needs to be checked. AJ Lee.
WWE played it out on a random episode of Raw for a viral moment that did nothing to elevate anyone involved in the angle. But while the Vision breakup came way too early, WWE has kept other factions together long past their expiration date. The Judgment Day has been a fixture of WWE programming for nearly 4 years. Throughout 2025, WWE has teased tension within the group approximately 7,000 times. Finn looks angry at Dominic Mysterio. It seems like something is about to happen. Then everyone calms down and we go back to square one. It's a total waste because by this point,
if you walk past him, you will cough just off of his aroma. You like, ugh! Just off of just he just look at this group of delinquents. And then JD McDonough over there looks like my big brother said I can join, so I join. Like he looks off. Like Raquel looks like she'll throw you. Liv she looks like she smokes right with him. Finn looks like, I don't know, Finn look kind of cool. Finn look like like Finn look like he with it, like he about it. Roxanne look like she about it, like she with it. There's 3 people in this whole picture that look like they with it. Roxanne, Finn, Raquel. The other 3 look like, oops, I did it again.
WWE could have given a solid singles run to Finn instead of ruining his aura. But when it comes to ruining things, nothing comes close to the damage they did to John Cena's legacy with his final match.
Oh, he is done. Okay, he's at his final match.
John Cena built his entire legacy on never giving up, on inspiring kids and adults all around the world to never quit. But Triple H made the same guy tap out in his final match to a sleeper hold. And you still have some Triple H bots defending this decision as poetic and cinema.
That is rough. That's what you choose to do with John Cena. It's like, never give up. And in my very last match, I said, you know what? Give up now. It's okay to give up sometimes. Just let it go. Just let it go like Frozen. Anyways, that was it, y'all. So we're starting off this year strong. I'm gonna be doing a lot bit more videos now this year. We have goals now, and we gotta meet them. And we put our first one down. It's meet AJ Lee. So we gotta meet that goal, y'all. We have to meet that goal. We're gonna be writing down other goals as the goals come to mind. I'm gonna just clear off spaces, and we just go fill this whole board up with goals for the channel, and all that jazz. Anyways, my name's Lexi. You've just watched The Nerds Table. I almost forgot my name. You've just watched The Nerds Table.